family. Good morning. How y'all doing? It is your girl, your diva in knowledge, Lady Mocha, represent Mocha's Cafe de Paris. Well, I'm always serving you wisdom, knowledge, and spiritual awareness. Big ups to all of my subscribers. Again, I really want to thank each and every one of y'all for all of y'all support. Thank y'all for the kind, encouraging words that y'all been commenting to me, through a lot of my videos. I also want to appreciate those of you who have been cash apping, looking out, donating. I really appreciate each and every one of you, and those who have not been able to donate. Like I said, just stopping by, showing your support, showing love. I'm so grateful. I am so appreciative. Again, I want to thank each and every one of y'all, and update on my wellness. I am doing better, but my voice is still a little heavy. I'm sounding just like a dude. I mean, I sound just like a man. That's just how clogged up I still am, but I'm doing better. I thank God that I am recovering from this COVID, me and my husband both. So for everybody who's been wondering, yes, I am doing much better, just that my voice, I'm still recovering. So y'all know I sound a little different than usual. But nevertheless, I am doing well. I thank God. I still got my health. I'm still in my right mind. So all is well. So I definitely had to do another corruption series on this situation here pertaining to a Morgan County inmate by the name of Lamar Lawrence Burns, who brutally assaulted a female corrections officer. Morgan County 22-year-old man has officially been sentenced to 12 years in prison after brutally beating a female corrections officer in April 2021. Federal judge sentenced Lamar Lawrence Burns of Alpine to 150 months in prison. Burns pleaded guilty to the assault of a Morgan County corrections officer in October 2021. Burns will serve the sentence consecutive to any other sentences he may receive as a result of the charges. The Morgan County Sheriff's Office and Burns punched corrections officer Kathy Evans twice in the face, knocking her to the ground. Burns had requested a smoke break during evening meal distribution and was told by Evans that he would get a break when mealtime was over, authorities said. The sheriff's office said she sustained a concussion, contusions around her eye and mouth, and bruising on her back, head, and arms. Burns was in jail on charges of capital murder following the shooting death of Alabama A&M University student Dallas Patrick Ryan Wolf, as well as federal charges related to a fraud scheme. Lord, I tell you, when I say corrections is a dangerous profession, it truly, truly is. It is not something you go into and think it's a game. The money is good, of course, especially when you're in a state, you live in a county that's relatively small, or there's limited job options. Most correctional facilities pay more than a lot of these jobs, depending on what area you live in. And this is what draws a lot of people to pursue a career in corrections, because most of it is pertaining to money. It has everything to do with money. But too much is given, much is required. You're not going to go into this type of profession and think that, you're going to just make money, simply make you some bread, do some hours, and go home peacefully. It's a lot that definitely comes with this territory when you're in this type of profession, and you have to watch your back at all times. At all times, you have to watch your back. Now, keep in mind, this inmate is 22 years old, black male, evidently has no regards for life. That is the reason why he's in there. He did kill another human being. Now, I looked up his other case prior to these new additional charges that was added on with this physical attack that he did towards this female officer. And I see here he is responsible for the death of an A&M senior, remembered for his strong passion in social justice. So he was gunned down. I'll just read the article right quick. so y'all can have some clarity on why this inmate was incarcerated in the first place. An Alabama A&M senior gunned down as he returned to his off-campus apartment on Monday is being remembered as a caring, compassionate, deep thinker who had a bright future ahead. Dallas Patrick Ryan Wolf, 22, the same age as the inmate, coincidentally, died midday Monday, according to police and family. Wolf was returning to his apartment when just outside the entrance gate, someone opened fire on him. He was taken to the hospital where he was pronounced dead a short time later. Huntsville Police Lieutenant Jesse Sublime, an investigation is ongoing. So of course this is an older article because they have already captured the suspect. The suspect is doing time. But as you can see, you know, he was attacked and murdered. And evidently the inmate, Mr. Burns, knew who he was. So yeah, I see the article here where they actually captured him. But he was captured. Lamont Lawrence Burns, 21, is charged with capital murder and the slaying of 22-year-old Dallas Ryan Patrick Wolf. The fatal shooting happened as Wolf returned to his off-campus apartment. U.S. Marshals Gulf Coast Regional Task took Barnes into custody. Lawmen located a vehicle connected to Burns, so they found his vehicle. That's how they was able to locate him. Marshals then conducted several interviews and learned that Burns had been dropped off at the Red Roof Inn at Vestavia Hills. Burns was taken into custody without incident about 4:45 p.m. Wednesday and turned over to Huntsville police. According to police and family, Wolf was returning to the apartment when just outside the entrance. The suspect, now known, no longer suspect, inmate Burns, opened fire on him. He was taken to hospital, pronounced dead. Family said Burns was one of about 4 men who had been staying at an apartment Wolf shared with several others since November. While Wolf and his roommates were on a lease, Barnes and the others were not and were basically camping out in the common area. Wolf was not happy with the situation and over the weekend reached out to apartment management to complain. Dallas never confronted them. He was going through the proper channels, said his mother, Karen Wolf. Always wanted to make sure he didn't make waves. Dallas Wolf, who is from St. Petersburg, was a senior honor student majoring in psychology. That's awesome. He had attended Maryland College in Tennessee. He had an academic and athletic scholarship. Playing football for 2 years, he had attended. He transferred to A&M, however, because he wanted the experience of studying at a historically black college and university. I was looking forward to graduating in May. The family said Wolf was the last person expected to die in an act of violence and found it ironic that he was killed on Martin Luther King Jr.'s birthday. He was more of Dr. King's image in that he was a nonviolent person. Wow, he didn't get into any trouble. Dallas Wolf was the youngest of 3 brothers and was, by all accounts, an intellectual. So, y'all, this is a really sad situation, but nevertheless, I will leave the article in my commentary section, in the comment section. So if you want to read more into it, you're welcome to do so. So the reason why I read that article was so we can have a background on what type of person Mr. Barnes is. So again, Mr. Barnes, typical young black menace to society, 22 years old, has no regards for life, has no regard for self-worth. This is just society's dead weights, you know, and we have so many of them among us. These are the ones that are burglarizing your homes while you are working a 9-to-5, providing for your family. These are the ones that are scoping out the parking lots, waiting to see if they can catch a old lady or elderly man vulnerable, you know, so they can snatch their pocketbooks and knock them upside their head and take their debit cards. I mean, this is society's dead weight, you know, these uncivilized scavengers who have nothing to lose because they basically have given up on life. They have given up on themselves. So whenever you encounter an individual that becomes dead weight to society, you are definitely, you put yourself in harm's way. And a lot of times we don't know that, you know, because we're around these individuals all the time. But I saw that to say this, the correctional facility is overcrowded with these type of individuals who think this way, who reason with life this way. Again, they have no regards for life. They have no respect for the law. They have no respect for human life. Um, they just have no conscience. They don't care about the consequences. They don't care about going to jail. They don't care about going to prison. They don't care about their freedom. They don't care about embarrassing their parents. They don't care. We see it day in and day out. We got to live with these individuals. They live next door to us. Some of them work with us if they do have a job. Some of them go to church with us. It's sad, but we are around these individuals. But nevertheless, this scavenger wanted a cigarette break. And ironically, every correctional facility is different. But I know usually in most county jails, they don't even allow inmates to smoke. But, which to me, I think is a good idea. I'm like this: once you lose your freedom, you lose your freedom. You don't get to smoke. You don't get to drink. You should not have access to anything that you had in the outside world. But every facility is different, and they have their own policies and procedures, and they have their own type of rules according to how they govern their inmates. But at this particular facility, I guess, inmates are permitted, they are granted the privilege to get a smoke break. And she didn't deny him of that. She basically told him that he would get his smoke break when mealtime was over. She was serving trays. And of course, as a correctional officer, me being in that field, formerly was in that field, one thing I do know is that when it comes to serving trays, you have to do it right then and there. The meals don't stay cold, don't stay hot for a substantial amount of time. And it is your job as an officer. You have to make sure you pass out those trays, because inmates are supposed to be served their food at adequate temperature. You're not supposed to give them their food, with 2 hours cold, things of that nature. Now, you do have a lot of counties that do it, and they don't give a damn. I mean, jail is jail. But at a reasonable time, basically. You don't wait till 2-3 hours, and now you want to serve them breakfast, knowing grits are going to be stiff as goddamn cement. Him being an inmate, he should already have known that. That's the main things that a lot of the inmates bitch about, is when they take too long to receive their trays. So when the herper pass out their trays, get that over with. If it's not an emergency, whatever else needed, have to wait till after chow was over. Nevertheless, this inmate didn't care about that. Because she would not give in to what he wanted. Right then and there, when he was ready, he used that situation to physically assault this woman who was just doing her job, serving her trays, doing her job as a correctional officer. She suffered concussions, contusions around her eye and her mouth, and bruising on her back, head, and arms. This just goes to show you, anybody who is interested in doing corrections, anybody who is pursuing this as a career, these are the things that you have to keep in mind. You have to realize that these inmates do not care. They do not care if you are a white woman, if you are a black woman. They don't care if you are an old woman, a young woman, black man, white man, old black man, old white man. They do not care. When you encounter these demons, because you're going to be surrounded by hundreds of them, especially in this type of field, you have to always keep that in mind. And this comes with the territory. During my duration as a correctional officer, I will also say this. Now, this is not to disrespect the female officer. by any means, because I was not there. I do not know this female officer, nor do I know the inmate personally. But I will play devil's advocate and say that I have witnessed in personally from correctional facilities where I work, I have witnessed female officers abuse their authority when it comes to male inmates. Now, again, I'm not saying that this justifies this man physically attacking this woman, because it does not justify. They tell you that from the off the rip. Whenever you an inmate and you're arrested and brought into a facility, and they hand you your uniform and they hand you your duffel bag, you know, with your blanket, with your pamphlet, you know, handbook, explain all the rules. They tell you off the muscle. If you assault any officer by any means, even if you don't physically put your hands on an officer, if you spit at that officer, if you push that officer, even if you just touch that officer on the shoulder, it could be just a nice gesture. Even if you touch that officer, all of that is considered an assault. Period. Point blank. They're not trying to hear it, that they ain't trying to hear it was a mistake, my bad, you know, it was a nice gesture, I didn't mean it in a threatening way. You cannot touch an officer by any means. They tell you off the muscle. Even as soon as you come into jail, you see signs all over the place. Do not assault. Do not put your hands on an officer. You know, a lot of inmates, they know that, and believe it or not, most of them, they respect that. A lot of these guys, they don't want no extra time, especially in the county jail when they're in there on some lightweight stuff like child support or probation violation. They don't want no extra weight. They want to come in there, do their little bit of time so they can get out and go home to their family. Now, these thugs like Mr. Barnes here, Mr. Burns, they don't have nothing to lose. And the thing about it is, you know, a lot of these guys, they are so immature. You're dealing with a lot of immaturity. And when you're dealing with immaturity, a lot of these guys, they don't think about the future. They don't think about how their actions are going to affect their future, their life. They don't think about it. They're always focusing on instant gratification, what they can get out the situation at the moment. You know, whether if it's street cred, whether if it's money, they're looking at the instant rewards and not looking at the long-term damage that's going to come behind it. No different than the two guys, you know, that had to face the judge for young Dolph. One named Johnson and the other one named Cornelius, something like that. You know, you can just tell the reality is setting in now that they have to face that judge, and as that judge was reading all them charges to him, you know, even though they tried to play it off, but you know, Ray Charles could see that them guys saw that, damn, we really in this now. See, but at the point in time when they approached this young man and they shot him and killed him, at that point in time, at that moment in time, it was all about street cred. It was all about eliminating their competition, eliminating somebody that had a lot of respect, that was well respected, that was well known for something great. At that point in time, it was about street cred. They didn't look at nothing as far as the future. They didn't look at how it's going to affect the family that's close to that's related to Young Dolph. They didn't care about the fans who supported Young Dolph. They didn't think about prison. They didn't think about none of what the future had in store for them when they decided to take this young man's life. And that is just the unfortunate part that we're dealing with these uncivilized scavengers. And the truth be told, the majority of them are young black men. And I really wish most of these male content creators would get off of talking about black female fuckery and start addressing issues that are more important to the black community. They need to be reaching out to these young black men about their anger and about them, you know, making permanent decisions off of temporary egos. You know, these young men, they are lost in the sauce, and they're not getting any type of guidance, you know. And I know a lot of men say all the time, I've heard guys say it, well, what are we supposed to do? We can't change the mindset. They're going to do what they're supposed to do. Granted, but all the time and energy you put into all this other foolishness, even if they are going to do what they're going to do, you still need to be reaching out to these young men, because the truth is, a lot of these young men, most of them don't have fathers. A lot of them have mothers that can't do nothing with them. You know, they, a lot of these young men, they're just, like I said, dead weight. Society's dead weight, just dead weight to society. But nevertheless, getting back to this point, you have to have what's called discretion as an officer whenever you are encountering or approaching these inmates. If you're considering corrections, if you are in corrections, or you've always been curious about corrections, one thing you have to learn as a correctional officer, you have to have common sense and discretion. Now, the article was not very detailed in stating where this inmate was when he was denied getting a break. I'm not sure if she had him out of his cell when she denied him. I'm not sure the real details as to what was his attitude, what was his demeanor, where were they? Were they in the open space where he was around other inmates? I'm not sure the details, but the reason why it's imperative, I wish I knew more about the details, is because as an officer, whenever an inmate is asking you for something, it's things you have to pay attention to. You have to pay attention to his tone. How's he asking you? Is he asking you in a respectful manner, or is he aggressive? It's the difference between officer, Officer T, CO. When we done serving child, man, can I get my break? Can I get a cigarette break? I ain't smoked a cigarette all day. All right, cool. Okay. When I'm done and we have enough time, I'll see what I can do. And I always say that's the best thing. I'll see what I can do. When you give them a straight up, I will, or yes, they gonna hold you to that. And when you know you're the only officer and you're on borrowed time, 9 times out of 10, it's only one officer to every wing or to every tier, whatever. It's not enough of you to go around to fulfill everybody's request. So I always say, I'll see, I'll get back to you on it. Sometimes the officer, we're so busy doing stuff, you want to hurry up and get them a yes. You want to hurry up and just tell them something. You can't do that because they're going to hold you to it. I'll always say, I'll see, I'll get back to you. I'm not sure right now. That's how that goes. Okay? It's the difference between him, like I said, asking in that manner versus he asking, man, what the fuck, man? I ain't get a fucking cigarette all fucking day. You know what I'm saying? You around here doing this and doing that, blah, blah, blah. When I'm gonna get my fucking cigarette break? Y'all on some bullshit. Y'all know we only come out such amount of time. When the F I'm gonna get my break? When he start cussing and being aggressive and being demanding, you got to shut down camp right then. Now, it's a way to do it. Now, if he's out and he's not in a confined area, it's a way you have to say it. Even when he's being aggressive, you got to downplay it and be the reserve. You have to be reserved, and you have to be the humble officer. Not humble in the sense to where you make him think you're so humble that you're afraid of him or you fear him. But when they're coming at you in a hostile manner like that, with their tone, and they're out in the open, say, look, I got a couple of things I got to do. Let me lock you down first. If I have time, I'll get back to you. If I don't have time, I'll see if when the next officer come in, I'll see if they'll be willing to grant you that break. The main thing is you want to be calm. You want him to get to his cell calm. You don't want to stir up the pot while he's out. Okay? You want him to be confined. You want him in his cell. So even if you're in your mind, you know you're not going to give him that cigarette break because he's already talking to you nasty. He's already being disrespectful. This is not the time to say no. Okay? Now when he's out in the open, he's already agitated. That's the last thing you need. Now, if he was already confined in his cell, it's easier to reject him, but you have to reject him in a respectful manner. No, I apologize. Hey, thought I was going to be able to get round to it. I'm not going to be able to grant that cigarette break. But this, and that, hey, look, it's a privilege. It's not a requirement. So, with that being said, that is not something that I have to deliver. And at this point in time, based on your attitude and the way you've been handling me, I don't feel comfortable with granting that privilege to you at this moment. We'll try another day. Today ain't the day. We'll try another day. But today, we're not doing a cigarette break today. When I come in another day and your attitude is better than what it is now, then I'll see. Oh, I always say I'll see. Don't promise them a damn thing. I'll see what I can do for you. But today, it's not going to happen. Why? Because of your attitude. And you let them know that. And there's no need in arguing with them. There's no need in going back and forth. Because you can only argue by yourself. Doesn't matter if he cuss you out, call you all a bald head bees, fat bees, whatever. At some point, he's going to get tired of arguing. Because at the end of the day, he's not coming out that cell. Now, I've seen some female officers, as I was getting ready to mention earlier. I've seen a lot of female officers who talk to male inmates like garbage. I've witnessed it. And most of the time I notice it's usually young female officers that are rookies, or either it's older female officers that are in their 60s or 70s that don't have husbands, bitter, set in their ways, you know what I mean? These are usually the ones with the worst type of attitudes, you know what I'm saying? So, these are the ones, that are most of the time, for what I've witnessed, because I was also training officers. And I witnessed how older female officers would train young female officers to talk to inmates like they are children. I don't know the situation with this female officer, and again, it does not justify his actions. I don't care what she said to him. It does not justify his actions. But at the same time, I would say this. Sometimes a lot of these female officers abuse their authority. You got these young females who think they could talk to these inmates like these inmates are their baby daddies. They could talk to these inmates like these inmates are their boyfriends. These are grown men. Even if they 17, 18, even if they're a little younger than you, you still have to treat these male inmates with respect. You can't talk to them like garbage. You can't call them out their name. Even if they're calling you out your name, you have to remain professional at all times. If you are a non-colored female officer, you cannot be calling these black male inmates the N-word. You cannot be getting out of character, because you have to realize a lot of these dudes, they are from the streets. They are from the streets. And a lot of them, they live that life. They are about that life. They don't have a problem. They don't care about taking that extra charge. They don't have a problem with attacking an officer. They don't have a problem with physically assaulting an officer. They don't have a problem with that. Because they have nothing to lose. The truth is, a lot of them know they're going to prison. A lot of them know they're going to be lifers. Some of them know they're never going to get out. And those are definitely the ones you don't want to challenge, the ones who have nothing to lose. Now, you also don't want to challenge the ones who are new, who don't understand the law, because, again, because they don't know the law, and they not really familiar with how the system operates. They could physically assault you just by not understanding that if you physically assault an officer, it's going to add more charges. So you can't really play it safe with the inexperienced inmates too that's coming in for the first time. They could freak out, be, they're scared, they don't know what to expect, they never been locked up before, and they'll miss and just physically fight you out of being fretful or out of fearing they got to prove they hardcore to the other inmates in there by physically assaulting the officer so they can prove to the other inmates that they not a punk or they not soft. You know what I mean? And sometimes they're willing to prove that at an officer's expense. So you have to be very careful. Again, I see a lot of these female inmates, they talk to men like trash. There was this one particular young female, and her attitude just really sucked, you know. But as an officer, you're not allowed to ridicule another officer in front of inmates. You just cannot do that. It's unprofessional. And the inmates, they'll play on it. They'll use it to their advantage. And she just would talk to these inmates like garbage, And I've heard a couple of them say, "You're not going to talk to me like that. I'm a grown-ass man. I'll slap you in your mouth. I'll slap the shit out you. You think I'm playing with you? Little girl, I'll hurt you." When you have to pay attention to somebody's tone. For one, I've never had inmates come at me like that because I've never given them a reason to really have to come at me that way. I've never talked to them in an aggressive manner. I've never talked to them like they children unless they coming at me in a disrespectful manner. Most of the time, if I ever came at them, it's because they caused it, for the most part. So most of the time I never had that type of feedback. But I sit back and observe how a lot of these female officers, they come to work with a chip on their shoulder. A lot of them are dealing with some areas in their life that has made them a little bitter. And the truth be told is they come to their jobs and they throw their weight around. And it's easy for them to take it out on the inmate because the inmate, he has to really prove that the officer is doing something to him. And officers who know they have that authority, they can use it to their advantage, And unfortunately, this is the reason why jail is just a place you don't want to be, because as an inmate, basically, you are guilty until proven innocent. 9 times out of 10, they're going to take the officer's word over yours. Even if the officer is grimy, even if the officer, is abusing their authority, unless they could really, really catch the officer doing something unethically wrong, they're 9 times out of 10 going to side with the officer. And you as the inmate, you could very well be in the right. But at the end of the day, officers are going to stick together. Unless they could really, really prove the officer was really, really, really out of line. But most of the time, the law, they're going to defend each other before the law defends the inmate. It's as simple as that. So I witnessed inmates threaten female officers because some of these female officers, they would just go too far. Tell them to shut up. Ain't nobody talking to you. You need to go lock your behind down. You cannot talk to these grown men like they are children. You got to realize you may have to run into them on the street. Where's your backup going to be? Anything can happen, and they could find you. So you got a Facebook page and stuff. You just got to be very mindful of how you treat these inmates. But like I said, that's only in situations with females who are abusing their authority. But in this instance, this female correctional officer, it was just a bad day for her. It was a bad day for her. 9 times out of 10, this dude was already on the edge. He was already on the prowl. He was looking for an opportunity to physically turn up. That situation didn't even warrant for him to take it to that extent. But most of these inmates, they are on a demonic prowl, looking for an officer to not do what they want, looking for an inmate to not do what they want. And the moment someone does not give in to their demands, they physically attack. They physically harm. I've seen inmates harm other inmates all because an inmate didn't want to give up his extra bag of chips. You know, just constantly on demon time, you know, looking for any opportunity in which they can bring harm to someone, in which they can, you know, destroy someone. They look for it. You have to realize a lot of these inmates, they are demonic. They are miserable. They pretty much hate life. And when they're around these officers, knowing that you still got your life, you still got your freedom, that you only there because you have a job to do, they will hate you just off the strength of that. They will not only hate you off the strength of the fact that you have your freedom, they will hate you off the strength that you have authority over them. You tell them when to sleep, when to eat, when they can make a call. And the bad part is the decisions they made, this is what they signed up for. But guess what? You cannot tell them that. And guess what? They're not going to honor that. They're not going to tell themselves, well, it's not the officer's fault that I chose this life, that I made the decision I made to where now I got to end up being in prison, in jail, where I'm constantly being told what I can and can't do. They're not going to look at it as if it is their fault. They're going to look at it like, yeah, I know I'm in here because I murdered somebody, killed somebody, but why y'all trying to run my life? Why y'all got to tell me what to do? We got to tell you what to do. We have to run your life because when you had your freedom, look what you did with it. You took your freedom. You used your freedom to take the life of another human being, which has caused you to lose your freedom. Now you're in here. We cannot allow you to run your life anymore. We have to run it for you. Because when you had the privilege to run your life, look what you did with it. When you had the privilege to run your life, you took that to take somebody, you use that to take somebody else's life. A lot of these guys, they don't get it. They get angry with the officers. Like, who are you to tell me what to do? I got to tell you what to do. I got to give you order. Evidently, your mom or your daddy, you didn't follow none of their orders. You didn't follow the orders of society by not breaking and violating rules. So this is where we are now. I'm over you. I have authority over you. And you got to play by my rules. You broke the rules, you got to play by my rules. And this is why I find it so ironic when you have a lot of these young black males who go out here and murder and take the life of other young black males, all to get some temporary street cred. For you to have to end up in front of the judge. The judge reads all of your charges to you. Then you have to face arraignment. Then you have to face when you're getting sentenced. Then when you face getting sentenced and they tell you you're going to get life with no possibility of parole. Do you not understand that temporary street cred is not going to outweigh the ongoing permanent damage that's going to be cemented in your future? These same dudes that, like, again, these young men who robbed, these young men who killed young Dolph. They was in on it together. But my thing is, do they not understand? These two men, young men that were indicted, do they not understand when they get sentenced? They're going to end up sending them to different prisons. They're not going to be together. Your homeboys who did that shooting with you, who did that robbing with you, who did that murder with you. Yeah, Justin Johnson and Cornelia Smith. Y'all are never going to see each other again. Y'all will never be able to do any more dirt together ever again. They're going to ship y'all off to two totally different prisons. And guess what? These prisons, they don't allow inmates to pen pal other inmates. So all this dirt y'all did together, this heinous criminal offense that y'all committed together, y'all will never see each other ever again in life. It's crazy. A lot of these young men don't think that far ahead. They just really don't. But it's an unfortunate situation because as an officer, your goal is to go home the same way you came in. Your safety is your number one priority. But also, you cannot predict the psyche, the mindset of these inmates. You can go to work thinking it's going to be a regular night. You already got your night planned out. You already have your schedule planned out for what you're going to do with the inmates and what time you're going to get certain things done and things of that nature. And you don't ever think in your mind that night is going to be the night that an inmate is going to physically assault you, attack you. You know, because the inmates keep changing. They move them around, they relocate them. You end up with inmates who you don't know. You got to refamiliarize yourself with them. Some of these inmates have mental illnesses. Some of them are narcissists, have narcissistic tendencies. Some of them are bipolar. Some of them are schizophrenic. I know the last correctional facility I was at, classification did not care how they group these individuals, and that's very dangerous for officers. If you know an inmate is a mental ill, he's a 49er, why would you put him in general population? A lot of times classification, they don't give a damn of the booking. They just want to hurry up and get rid of them. They want to hurry up and get them out of their unit and send them anywhere. And it's the officers who are not familiar, who are not specialized in dealing with inmates that have these type of mental illnesses and mental issues, who become a liability, because a lot of these guys ain't normal. I have 49ers in my unit, and it's by the grace of God, nothing happened to me. Because some of these 49ers, they know they smart. They know how to act like they're not mental. And to me, those ones are more scarier than the ones who really act mental. Because the ones who act mental, you can see, okay, I know he crazy, let me stay away from him. But the 49ers that can act normal and play the part, they're more dangerous, because you never know when they're going to unleash the beast on you. Unleash the beast on you. And you caught up, you hemmed up, and it may take your backup 5 minutes to get to you. 5 minutes is a long time. By the time that inmate has physically assaulted you, 5 minutes could feel like forever. So Burns is definitely a troubled individual. Most inmates are, but he's definitely a troubled individual. Whenever you come and encounter an inmate that's young and known as a rebel to society. He already killed another young man who really did nothing to him. Young man just reported, that there was these individuals hanging around, and it made him feel uncomfortable. And you can look at Burns and can tell he looks off. He does not look right. As a correctional officer, that's another thing. You have to have that third eye. You need to be able to look at an individual and know he don't look right. And know that, I can't let him out by himself. Or I can't, give him too many privileges. You got to be able to look and sense. As an officer, you have access to these guys' records. If an inmate is acting funny or give you a funny vibe, look up what the hell he was in there for. Figure it out. If he's in there for domestic violence, for beating on women, what makes you think you're any bit different? Because you got a uniform on. If he's in there for murdering his own mother, what makes you think he ain't gonna hurt you? It's important sometimes. You got to go look deep into these guys' backgrounds so you can really have an understanding of what you're up against. Now, in some cases, a lot of correctional facilities will tell you don't look into their background right away, because you don't want it to affect your professionalism, like how you handle them or how you deal with them. Most of the time, I don't. I don't, most time I don't just go looking. But when they start doing some weird shit that's just not settling well with my vibe, I'ma look them up. And if my intuition make me feel something funny, and I look up his record and see he's a rapist, he's a woman beater, I said, okay, so my third eye did not mislead me. I knew something was fishy about this guy. So it's imperative as an officer, you look into these things, do not try to challenge these guys. I don't care what your title is. I don't care if you're lieutenant, sarge, corporal. I don't care if you're certified. I don't care if you've been to the police academy. I don't care if you've been the best shooter. In the correctional facility, you're not allowed to carry a gun. Your title does not matter when you're dealing with a criminal, when you're dealing with an uncivilized scavenger. Your title does not matter. Your qualifications does not matter. All they see is an easy target, and they don't have a problem hurting you because most of them already feel like, they're on the losing end. They got nothing to lose. So with that being said, you have to be very careful. You have to have discretion. So anyway, my heart definitely goes out to the correctional officer. She looks like an older woman, and I'm sure when he was attacking her, she was very defenseless. Physically, she was not able to defend herself. Because you got to realize, you dealing with grown ass men. These dudes are what, 6'9", solid 225. These guys be throwing some solid ass punches, and it's sad that this dude beat on this older woman. I'm like, damn, dude, don't you got a grandmother? Don't you have an aunt? But then again, no, you a thug, you a criminal, you a uncivilized scavenger. So it wouldn't have mattered. If it wouldn't have been her, it would have been anybody. He was just on a prowl. It would not have mattered. Any officer who was not going to kiss his ass and do what he wanted to do, he was going to physically fight them. And you have some inmates that are like that. So again, if you're going to go on corrections, please make sure you have common sense. Don't try to be Billy Badass. I've been in the last correctional facility I was at. We had a corporal who was pregnant, and she saw an inmate. He had something in his possession. I think he had like a wick or something, and because they're not allowed to smoke at the last facility I worked at, and she tried to take it from him. This dude damn near roughed her up while she was pregnant. He ain't cared nothing about she was carrying another life. He damn near roughed up. Now, he did get another charge. But damn, what good is that? When if she would have lost her baby behind it? When if he would have physically attacked her in the cell while she was pregnant? It was not smart on her behalf, because my thing is, as a grown-ass man, when I see you with something you're not supposed to have, and I tell you to give it to me, and you say you're not going to give it to me, guess what? I'm going to let you have it. It don't matter, because once I write that report, and the next morning, when day shift comes in, guess what? It's going to be 8 deep coming in on you. You're going to give up that wick. You're going to give up whatever the hell you had. Now, I'm not going to be Billy Badass and go in your cell by myself and try to take something from you. No, for one, you're a grown-ass man. For two, I'm by myself. For three, you could use that as a weapon to hurt me with it. If I ask you for it, you don't give it to me, that's fine, because your ass going to be in that cell the rest of the night. And one thing I know, whatever you got is in that cell with you. It's not going nowhere. And the thing is, I saw you with it. So even if you had it, guess what? You still going to get charged for having illegal contraband. So it does not matter. You women need to stop underestimating these dudes. And same thing with you male officers. Don't underestimate these guys. They'll beat your ass too. They don't care if you're a man. Matter of fact, they'll fight a man before they fight a female. But women, we are living in some different times. These men don't care if you're a woman anymore. Back then, guys will kind of take it easy on female officers because they're like, okay, well, she a woman. They laugh it off like she ain't doing nothing. But now, these new school thugs, they don't care. They will beat the living daylights out of you. They don't care if you're 60, 70, or 80 years old. So anyway, y'all, leave y'all comment below. Let me know what y'all think about the situation. About this Morgan County inmate, Lamont Burns, who attacked this female officer. Give me y'all a comment. Let me know what y'all think about this. I definitely want to get y'all intake on it. But anyway, definitely, y'all, I apologize for the upload yesterday, and I uploaded, the sounds was not correct. King Bob brought it to my attention, so I had to re-upload it and made sure the sounds was on it. So when I did my editing, I had my sound turned off when I sent it out. But you know, these things do happen. But I did correct that upload. So if y'all check out my upload where I discuss former sheriff Alex Underwood, who got caught in a corrupted scandal, is going to be facing some federal time for inappropriately using governmental funds for other things other than, you know, putting it towards officers' raises and towards stakeouts and things that he was supposed to ethically be doing with the money. So I did upload a story on that. So I'm definitely going to be talking more, discussing more things that's going on in these correctional facilities within the criminal justice system. So definitely let me know what y'all think about these topics. If this is something that needs to be discussed more, if y'all would like me to discuss more other things that I may have not even considered, let me know. I'm definitely open to it, and I definitely would like to get y'all feedback and y'all intake. So anyway, y'all, please make sure before you leave, you hit that thumb up button. It is free. It's not going to cost you anything. Make sure y'all do that for me. Ladies, if you haven't already, I am going to upload some content today on Mocha Ladies Lounge. I know I've been neglecting that channel, but I'm going to upload some more content there. So make sure y'all subscribe there as well. So anyway, y'all, appreciate y'all for hanging out with me. This is your girl, and knowledge, Lady Mocha. Represent Mocha's Cafe in Paris, from all serving you with some knowledge and spiritual awareness.